My name is Leo, and it started with a text message. It was a group chat with our entire family. My mother, Diana, had sent it. The message was long. It said I was selfish. It said I had betrayed the family. It said I was cut off for life. All because I refused to do what she demanded. She wanted me to sign over my condo to my brother, Asher. She said it was only fair. She said I had gotten enough from life already. I read the words on my phone screen. My hands were steady. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. I just typed my reply. Okay, I wrote, I understand. Then I put my phone down. I opened my laptop. I began to work. This wasn't a fight. It was a project. And I was very good at projects. For my whole life, I was the fixer. The quiet one. The one who solved problems. Asher was the prince. Everything was given to him. Excuses were made for him. My mother's demand was the last straw. She wanted me to give him my home. The condo was mine. I bought it with my own money. I worked extra jobs for the down payment. But in my mother's eyes, Asher needed it more. He had bigger dreams, and my place was a good starter. When I said no, she exploded. The group text was her final weapon. She told everyone, aunts, uncles, cousins, that I was greedy, that I was dead to her. She thought that would break me. She thought I would beg for forgiveness. She had no idea what was coming. I am a paralegal. I work for a big law firm in the city. My job is to organize, to find details, to build cases from piles of paper. I know how to find the truth. I know how the law works. For years, I had helped my family for free. I did their taxes. I read their contracts. I was their free lawyer. But they never valued me. They only valued Asher, his charm, his big talk. Now, I was cut off. So, their free legal help was also cut off. The first thing I did was change my number. I got a new phone. The old number was still on the group chat. They could yell into the void. I would not hear them. I had real work to do. My mother's text said I was cut off for life. That meant all of it. It meant no more family dinners. No more holidays. No more help. It also meant no more from me. I had been helping in a big way. For 3 years, I had been paying the property taxes on my mother's house. It was a big, old house in a nice neighborhood. The taxes were very high. My mother couldn't afford them on her own. She never asked Asher for help. She asked me. She said it was my duty as her son. So, every year, I paid the $12,000 bill. I did it quietly. That payment was due next month. She had forgotten about it. Or maybe she thought I would pay it anyway, even after being cut off. She was wrong. I pulled up all my records. I made a folder on my computer. I labeled it the ledger. In it, I put every receipt, every bank transfer, every proof of what I had given. The property tax payments for 3 years. That was $36,000. The money for Asher's last 2 semesters of college. Another $15,000. The new roof for the house last year. $8,000 more. I kept adding it up. The total was staggering. It was over $80,000 in the last 5 years alone. All of it was from me. All of it was expected. None of it was thanked. They called it family duty. I called it an unpaid debt. Now, the debt was called due. The next morning, my work phone rang. It was my aunt, Clara. She was furious. Leo, what is wrong with you? Your mother is devastated. I put her on speaker. I kept typing on my computer. Hello, Aunt Clara. You need to fix this. Call your mother. Apologize. Give Asher the condo. I stopped typing. Aunt Clara, I was disowned. I have nothing to say. Don't be childish. She's your mother. You owe her everything. According to her text, I owe her nothing. I am cut off. Goodbye. I hung up. I blocked her number. My personal phone, the old one, was buzzing non-stop. I put it in a drawer. The noise was just background sound. It meant nothing. The real action was on my screen. In the ledger. I knew my mother would panic soon. The property tax bill would arrive. She would see the due date. She would remember. She would expect me to pay it, like always. She would call. But my number was changed. She would not reach me. She would have to find another way. That would make her angrier. Angry people make mistakes. They say things. They do things. I was waiting for her mistake. In the meantime, I worked. I went to my job. I lived in my condo. The silence was beautiful. For the first time, it was quiet. No demands. No guilt. No cries for help from Asha. It was just peace. I was going to protect it. A week later, I got a letter. It was from a lawyer. The law file notice. It accused me of breach of familial duty. It demanded I pay the upcoming property taxes. It said I had a verbal agreement. It threatened to sue me if I did not pay. It was signed by a lawyer named Mr. Vance. I read it and smiled. This was her mistake. She had hired a lawyer. A bad one. This letter was full of empty threats. But it was perfect for me. It was the first piece of my puzzle. I scanned the letter. I added it to the ledger. Now, the fight was official. M was a small one. I had never heard of it. The letter was addressed to me at my condo. My mother had given them the address. It was a form. I did not call Mr. Vance. I did not call my mother. I took the lawyer's letter to my own boss. Her name is Attorney Walsh. She is the toughest lawyer in our firm. She looked at the letter. She laughed. This is nonsense, Leo. There's no case here. I know, I said. But I don't want to just defend. I want to act. What do you mean? She asked. I opened my laptop. I showed her the ledger, the numbers, the payments. For years, I've been the family bank. Now they are trying to force me to keep paying. Attorney Walsh nodded. What do you want to do? I took a breath. I think there's more. I think my brother, Asha, has been using family money for his schemes. My mother's savings. I want to look. She smiled. It was a sharp smile. Now you're talking. Let's dig. With Attorney Walsh's help, we started looking. It was legal. It was careful. We began with public records, property records, business filings. My mother's house was in her name only, but there was a second mortgage. She had taken it out 2 years ago for $80,000. The money was supposed to be for home improvements, but the roof was the only big repair, and I had paid for that. So where did that $80,000 go? Next, we looked at Asha. He had a failed business, a clothing brand. It was shut down last year. He said he lost all his own money, but business records showed something else. The business was funded by a private loan. The loan came from a company we didn't know. We looked deeper. The company was just a shell. It was tied to my mother's new mortgage. The pieces were coming together. My mother took a loan on her house. She gave the money to Asher for his business. He lost it all. Now, she had a huge loan to pay. And high property taxes. She needed my money to keep the house. To keep her secret. If I stopped paying, the secret would come out. The bank could foreclose. She had to force me. So she disowned me to scare me. She thought the threat of losing family would make me obey. It was a huge gamble. And she was losing. I updated the ledger. I added the mortgage documents, the business filings. It wasn't just about gifts anymore. It was about fraud. The property tax due date came closer. My mother must have been frantic. She couldn't reach me. Her lawyer got no answer. I got a second letter from Mr. Vance. It was more aggressive. It mentioned elder financial abuse. It said I was abandoning my mother. It was a ridiculous claim, but it showed her desperation. I showed it to Attorney Walsh. She was angry now. They are trying to weaponize the law, she said. We need to shut this down. She drafted a response. It was a letter from our big, powerful firm. It stated that all communication must go through us. It called their claims false. It also included a single line. A question. We are curious about the disposition of the funds from the second mortgage taken out on the property at her address. Please clarify. That was the grenade. We mailed it. The silence was loud. For 3 days, nothing happened. Then, my old phone in the drawer buzzed. It was a text. From Asha. What are you doing? Mom got a letter. She's crying. Call her now. I didn't reply. The phone buzzed again. And again. I took the phone out. I read the text without responding. Asha was scared. You're going to ruin everything. She's our mother. Stop this, Leo. Just pay the taxes. Be a man. I put the phone away. His feed told me everything. We had hit the target. They knew I knew about the loan. The game had changed. They were no longer attacking. They were defending. A new email arrived. It was to my work account. From my mother. She didn't call. She wrote an email. It was formal, like a business letter. Leo, we need to talk. This has gone too far. Please call me at your earliest convenience. Love, Mom. The love? Mom almost made me laugh. It was too late for love. I did not call. I wrote a reply. I copied Attorney Walsh. Per your text, all familial ties are severed. All communication should be through your lawyer, Mr. Vance. My lawyer is Attorney Walsh. Please direct all inquiries to her. I hit send. It was cold. It was clean. Minutes later, my work phone rang. It was Mr. Vance. Attorney Walsh took the call. I listened on speaker. He was nervous. He tried to sound tough. He failed. My client is willing to drop the matter if your client resumes the tax payments, Mr. Vance said. Attorney Walsh replied calmly. My client has no obligation. But we have questions. About the $80,000 mortgage. Where did that money go? There was a long pause. We could hear papers shuffling. That is unrelated, Mr. Vance stammered. Is it? Attorney Walsh said. We believe it's directly related to the pressure being applied. It looks like financial pressure, possibly fraud. That's a serious accusation, he said, his voice rising. It is, and we have the documents to back it up. The business records, the bank transfers. We will be filing a complaint with the State Bar about your threatening letters, and we may alert the bank about the suspicious loan. The call ended quickly after that. Mr. Vance had no answers. He was in over his head, and he knew it. The next day, the family storm arrived. My cousin, Natalie, came to my office building. She waited in the lobby. I saw her from the elevator. I walked over. Leo, please, she said. Her eyes were red. The whole family is fighting. Your mom is telling everyone you're trying to steal her house. I don't want her house, I said quietly. I just want my own life. She says you're threatening her. With lawyers. With the bank. I am protecting myself, I said. She took a loan for Asha. She lied about it. Now she wants my money to cover her mistake. That's the truth, Natalie. Natalie looked shocked. Asha's business. That was her money. I nodded. The house is collateral. If she doesn't pay the loan and the taxes, she loses it. She's not a victim. She's a co-conspirator. Natalie sat down on a lobby chair. She told us you were just being cruel. The cruel one, I said, is the person who throws away one child to save another. Natalie left, looking broken. I felt sorry for her. She was a good person. But the truth was spreading in the family now. That was good. My mother's story was falling apart. People were asking questions. I focused on my plan. The property tax deadline was 1 week away. My mother had no way to pay it. The bank would start the process. But I had one more move. A bigger one. My grandfather, my mother's father, was still alive. He lived in a retirement home. He was old, but his mind was sharp. He loved me. He never liked how my mother favored Asha. I went to visit him. I brought my laptop. I showed him the ledger. I showed him the mortgage papers. I explained everything. He listened. He looked sad. Then he looked angry. My grandfather's name is Walter. He is a man of few words. He looked at the proof for a long time. Then he closed the laptop. I have a trust, he said, for my grandchildren, for school or a home. Your mother is the trustee. She controls it. My heart jumped. A trust? Yes, you and Asha. 50-50. It was from your grandmother's life insurance. About $100,000 each. I knew nothing about this. Where is my half? I asked. Your mother told me you didn't want it yet. She said you were saving it. She said you asked her to manage it. I had never said that. I never knew it existed. She lied. I said, my voice flat. Grandfather Walter nodded. I see that now. She used your half, didn't she? For Asha. It all made sense. The extra money. The lost business funds. It wasn't just the mortgage. She had stolen from my future to fund Asha's failures. Grandfather Walter was furious, but his anger was quiet and cold. I will fix this, he said. You are my grandson. You have been wronged. He called his own lawyer that afternoon. He removed my mother as trustee of the family trust. He named a professional trustee instead, a bank. Then, he instructed the new trustee to do an immediate audit, to trace every dollar. He also gave me a letter. It was a signed statement. It said that he believed my mother had committed financial abuse against him by lying and against me by stealing. It was a powerful document. I added it to the ledger. The tide was turning completely. Now, my mother had to answer to her own father. The property tax deadline arrived. I did nothing. I knew what would happen. The county would send a notice. Then a final warning. My mother would have to find the money or lose the house. 2 days after the deadline, my old phone buzzed again. It was a call. It was from my mother's home number. I didn't answer. It went to voicemail. Her voice was different. Not angry. Not demanding. It was shaky. Scared. Leo, it's Mom. Please call me. The bank, they called. And my father, he won't speak to me. Please, Leo, we need to talk. I'm your mother. I deleted the message. Her words meant nothing. She wasn't calling because she loved me. She was calling because she was trapped, and I held the key to the trap. But I would not let her out. Attorney Walsh set up a final meeting, a settlement conference. She invited my mother, her lawyer Mr. Vance, and Asher. We held it in a conference room at my firm. It was a formal, cold place. My mother looked small. Asher looked pale. Mr. Vance looked at his hands. I sat next to Attorney Walsh. I said nothing. Here are the terms. Attorney Walsh began. First, all claims against Leo are dropped. No more threats of lawsuits. Mr. Vance nodded quickly. Agreed. Second, she continued, Leo will have no further financial obligations to Diana. No property taxes. No payments of any kind. My mother opened her mouth to protest, but Asher grabbed her arm. She closed it. Third, Attorney Walsh said, her voice sharp, the stolen funds from the trust, the $100,000 belonging to Leo, they will be repaid in full with interest within 60 days. My mother's head snapped up. What? I didn't steal. That was for the family. Attorney Walsh slid a paper across the table. It was the trust audit. It showed clear transfers from the trust account to Asher's business account. The trust was for Leo and Asher separately. Attorney Walsh said, you used Leo's share without his knowledge or consent. That is theft. It was for his brother, my mother cried. For family. That is not your decision to make, Attorney Walsh said coldly. If the money is not repaid, we will file a criminal complaint for embezzlement. You are the trustee. You are responsible. The room was silent. Asher stared at the table. He would not look at me. My mother's face was white. She finally saw the wall in front of her. And the final term, I said, speaking for the first time. Everyone looked at me. I looked at my mother. I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. You told everyone I was cut off for life. I said, I am holding you to that. You and Asher. You will not contact me. Ever again. You will not speak about me. I am out of your life, as you wanted. My mother's eyes filled with tears. But they were tears of self-pity. Not of love. You're really doing this, she whispered. You did it first. I said. You made it public. Now, it's permanent. Asher finally spoke. Where are we supposed to get $100,000? I looked at him. Sell your car. Sell your watches. Get a real job. That's your problem now. Not mine. We stood up to leave. The meeting was over. My mother just sat there. Quiet. Finally, completely quiet. The lawyer's call that made her go quiet was not one call. It was many. It was the call from the bank about the mortgage. It was the call from Grandfather Walter's lawyer about the trust. It was the call from Attorney Walsh stating the terms. My mother's world of stories collapsed under the weight of real facts. In the end, she repaid the money. She sold some of her jewelry. Asher sold his car. They did it to avoid the police. Not to make things right with me. The house was saved, but just barely. They had a huge loan to pay, with no help from me. I heard from Natalie that the family now knows the truth. They treat my mother differently. She is no longer the respected matriarch. She is seen as someone who stole from her own child. My life is quiet now. The peace is real. I used the repaid trust money as a down payment on a better place. A small house with a yard. I still work at the firm. Attorney Walsh gave me a raise. She said I had a talent for this. Sometimes I think about my mother. I don't miss her. I miss the idea of a mother I never had. But I am free. The invisible chains are gone. I started a blog. I call it The Quiet Ledger. I write about family, money, and how to protect yourself. Many people read it. They share their own stories. They thank me. They were the fixers, too. The quiet ones. The ones used by their families. To anyone reading this, your kindness is not a weakness. Do not let them treat it like an obligation. You can say no. You can walk away. You can build a life that is truly yours. And sometimes, the quiet okay is the most powerful word you will ever say.